重くなくて食べやすくて、そうだな、栄養もしっかり取れるよな。よし。
リンゴ。
お待ちだ。それはリンゴのリゾットだ。さあ、お上がりよ。
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Anime Kitchen, the show where we bring the food of anime and other media to life. In celebration of Shokugeki No Soma becoming available for streaming on Netflix, I thought we'd revisit the series that inspired me to start this channel and recreate Yukihira Soma's infamous Apple Risotto. With all that being said, aprons on, let's go.
Okay, so the first thing we're tackling today is our apple. While we're not going to be cooking the apple for a very long time, you still want to choose a nice cooking apple like a Fuji or a Granny Smith, as they hold their shape very well when exposed to heat. First, let's start by peeling the apple skin, and before you say anything about it being easier to peel the apple by going in a spiral pattern, I know, okay? I don't know why I'm peeling this like a psychopath, but I promise I'll do better in the future. After having a small moment with ourselves, we're going to put away half of this apple because that's all we're going to need for this recipe. Hey buddy, you actually messed up something later on and you're going to need the whole apple, just so you know. Now with the apple peeled, we're going to cut this into 1cm cubes. Keep these little guys in a bowl of water to prevent oxidization and set them to one side. While we're in the business of cutting, we're also going to finely dice 1/4 of an onion before setting this to one side as well. Now let's talk about what we're going to cook our risotto with. In the show, Yukihira uses apple juice for the risotto, but given how much sugar is in commercial apple juice, I feel like it contrasts quite harshly with the other flavours of the dish. To remedy this, I'm substituting the juice with a dry apple cider instead. I think this will provide a great apple flavour to the risotto while keeping things on the savoury side. So into a measuring jug, we're measuring out 1 cup of cider along with 1 cup of vegetable stock. Then I realised it was pointless to use the measuring jug because we needed this to be in a saucepan. So, transfer your stock mixture into a medium saucepan and place it over a low heat. Bring the liquid to a simmer, and then you want to keep it at a constant simmer until we're ready to cook. Moving over to the stove, you can see we're going to be multitasking today as we've got the whole stovetop in frame for once. In a cold frying pan, we're going to lay down 4 pieces of bacon and pour in 1 tablespoon of water before turning the heat on to medium. The water is going to help render out the bacon fat more steadily and leave you with some super crispy bacon. Next, in a high-walled frying pan, we're adding in 2 tablespoons of butter and melting that down over a medium-high heat. Once the butter is melted and foamy, we're going to add in the onions and saute for 2 to 3 minutes or until they're softened and starting to turn translucent. At that point, we're adding in half a cup of Arborio rice and tossing that thoroughly in the butter, ensuring that every grain is coated. Let the rice toast off for a couple of minutes, stirring occasionally before adding in a 1/4 cup of white wine or sake. Stir the rice continuously until the liquid has almost all been absorbed into the rice and allowing most of the alcohol to burn off. Next, we're going to add in 1/6 of our stock mixture, and now it's time to get a good arm workout going because we need to continuously stir the rice in the pan. By doing so, we're ensuring that the rice is releasing all of its starch into the liquid, which will give our risotto its characteristic creamy texture. Just keep stirring the rice until nearly all of the liquid has been absorbed before adding in another 6 of the liquid. Continue this process until all of the stock has been incorporated into the risotto. During the process of cooking your risotto, you'll need to flip the bacon and allow it to crisp up on the other side. If the bacon finishes cooking before the risotto is done, we're going to transfer the bacon onto a plate that has been lined with paper towel to absorb any excess grease before placing that plate into a preheated oven to keep warm. Now, since we have all this bacon fat left over, you can optionally add this into your risotto as well. Like I said, it's totally optional. I'm not going to be mad if you don't use it, I'll just be disappointed. So, do you guys remember earlier when I said I messed something up? Well, if you can see in the pan, it looks like quite a bit of rice. A lot more than half a cup, right? That's because I'm a dum-dum and weighed out 1 cup of Arborio rice instead of half a cup. So, in between the constant stirring, I heated up another batch of cider and stock mix and cut up the remaining half of the apple from before. Learn from my mistakes. Read through your recipes carefully and weigh everything out correctly. Anyway, once the liquid is all worked into your risotto and it's looking all sorts of rich, thick and creamy, we're going to add in our apples, which have been drained of water. Stir these guys in and cook for 2 minutes for the apples to warm through and slightly soften around the edges. At this point, we're also going to squeeze in about 2 teaspoons worth of fresh lemon juice and stir that into the risotto. Finish this guy off by grating in what you think is a good amount of Parmesan cheese, stir that into the rice and then realize that it definitely wasn't enough cheese. Grate in some more, stir it through and taste the risotto for seasoning. Take it off the heat and now it's time to plate up. Onto a crisp white serving plate, we're going to spoon on half of our risotto if you're following the written recipe, or 1/4 in my case since I had to double it. Give the plate a gentle shake to level out the risotto until it's only slightly domed, and then we're garnishing this with a couple of strips of our very crispy looking bacon, and also a small pinch of chopped parsley for photo accuracy. And there you guys have it, one of the weirdest but most photogenic risottos I've ever seen. Now all that's left to do is give this guy a taste. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, heading into this recipe, I thought that at best it was going to be an interesting and weird dish, but it actually tastes great. You've got that lovely creamy texture of the risotto from the constant stirring, releasing all that starch. The apple cider provides a very refreshing fruitiness to the dish, which is accented by the squeeze of lemon juice. The parmesan also adds to the creaminess and adds a nice salty bite to the dish, which is contrasted with the crisp, sweet and sour apples, which provide a nice textural and flavour change that surprisingly works in the context of this particular risotto. Like Yukihira suggests, I'm also going to try this risotto with black pepper to change the flavour. The mild heat of the black pepper mingles very well with the sweet and tangy flavours of the risotto, and in general, black pepper is always a safe bet to add to any risotto, and that's no different here either. Then you've got the bacon, which, being pork, does work very well with apples in general, and here it's no different. Its crispy texture and saltiness is a great pairing for the risotto, and when I say that this bacon is crispy, well, why don't I let the raw audio speak for itself. I honestly didn't think I'd say this by the end of the video, but guys, if you have some spare time on your hands and you want to make something that you've never had before, make this. It's surprisingly good and the flavour profile was so unique that I'll definitely be making this again in the future. As always guys, thanks so much for watching today's episode. Let me know if you enjoyed it by dropping a like down below. Let me know what food from anime and other media you want to see me make in the future. Subscribe to the channel for a new video every week, and until then, roll up your sleeves, slap on an apron, and I'll see you in the anime kitchen. Peace.